Happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Special shout out to Brandy, who's probably itching for this episode. So let's get started.
Let's send a lot of positivity to all of our listeners. Let's have some fun. It is going to be Mother's Day this next weekend. So happy Mother's Day to all the mommies out there.
Yep, that includes dog moms, cat moms, animal moms, all kinds of moms.
All kinds of moms. Moms are awesome. Anybody who just cares enough for another living being is awesome.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of special. Speaking of dogs.
Yeah, moms are all right, especially when they, we're thinking about... I think we were talking about discipline the other day, and I was like, man, I was afraid of my mom. Still am.
Yeah, I do. I have those same scary mom moments to this day. I see it rise up. And then when she takes care of my nephews or even my own children when they were younger, I'm like, why are you so nice? You're not the same person. I think it's when you get older. When you get older, your perspective is different and you appreciate children better, I guess, and you spoil them.
Yeah. So you were going to say, speaking of dogs.
Speaking of dogs, I have a funny doggy story. I don't know why my dog, who we adopted her from the Humane Society more than 10 years ago, has declared me her alpha, I guess. I rank slightly above my father, who is the cheese man, because he has always spoiled my dog with like almost every day a piece of cheese. Mm-hmm. And she knows where. So, and then when I'll go take my dog, like I'm walking over to the other side, she follows me around like my shadow, and I can't lose her. So if I walk to where my parents are, she knows Cheese Man lives there. So she literally barks at him and herds him sort of to the refrigerator to insist on a piece of cheese. And he laughs about it, but he gets up. He walks to the refrigerator and gets her a piece of cheese. She has him trained
she's technically
so well.
Him trained, right?
So well.
My dad's the same way, and I keep telling him my dogs are becoming obese because he overfeeds them.
Too many treats.
Too many treats, and I'm very much a stickler about like what they eat and things. But since they've been hanging around Grandma and Grandpa a little bit more lately, they eat pretty well. My mom makes them scrambled eggs on the weekends for their special treat day. And I'm like, that's not appropriate. Like, that's not good.
See, my dad would say things like, eggs are good for their coat. And so...
yeah, and I hear that, and I'm like, no.
It's really spoiling.
It makes it oily.
Spoiling their dogs.
Yeah. They sit and wait, and they, like, wait in like, a line. It's a sequence. And I'm like, what is happening? Or I'll like be going over for breakfast and bring the dogs and they're just like they line up and the little one is always first.
Oh, the little one has risen in the ranks to leader.
Yeah, he definitely. There's no way any of them are an alpha. Like I knocked that down pretty quick. I'm like, nope. Nope.
I don't know if you have this, but this is just going to be weird. So ever since I had babies, I can never go to I kind of was trained by my children to not close the door when you go to the bathroom because you never know what they're going to do, what they're going to get into. And it's like, as a mom, you have to go run to the bathroom when you think that your children are going to be okay for just a couple minutes. And you have to leave the door open because if some sound, anything, you literally have to stop what you're doing and get out there as quickly as possible. Right. So, normally now everybody's old, right? But now I have this dog that she insists on being like, I can't even be out of her sight to go to the bathroom. So I'll close the door, not to where it like locks, but just, I just swing it shut, so it's closed for privacy. But in a matter of moments of me just being in there, she pushes her way in and she's like, where did you go? And she has to be there watching me.
I have something similar like that. When I visit my parents' house and I decide to stay over,
Mm-hmm.
I stay in my childhood bedroom and the door doesn't close. I don't know why. I think it's because I have like stuff on it, whatever. And so sometimes when I'm sleeping, all of a sudden I hear this boom, like that because my door gets bust open by my dogs. Like they collaboratively just ram the door open and then proceed to sit on the side of the bed and cry until I wake up and pick them up to put them in the bed. And I'm like, it scares me because it sounds like a battering ram
Somebody's
has hit the
broken in.
door. Yeah, and they just come busting it like the Kool-Aid Man from Family Guy. Like, oh yeah. Like,
Does your military skills kick in and you're like, what's that?
I don't know. I like flail a little bit and then I get mad at them. I'm like, why did you do that? Like, the door's open now. Like, there's no privacy. So I rarely want to stay at my parents' house because my dogs will just bust in there because they love to stay with my parents because that's where the food is, right?
Yeah, that's their besties.
But then they want to come back up and hang out with me because they're like, oh well, mommy's sleeping longer. We want to sleep, so we'll get our food and then go to bed. And then I'm like, I don't want your face in my face after you've had scrambled eggs. Like, it's not cool. Yeah, my dogs are definitely spoiled by my parents.
But they're so fluffy and soft. Okay, we were watching a TV show together. I don't want to give it away, but it's Shadow and Bone from Netflix. And there's this one part where I fall in love with it. I've watched it twice now, this one scene over again, because I watched the whole series again. And he goes, he picks up this little baby goat. Oh my God, this baby goat's so cute. And the guy's yelling at him,
Milo,
hug the goat. And he's just like, oh, you're so soft. And after I saw that, I had to go find my dog and I had to go pet her.
Aww.
And she just had a bath yesterday. So her fur was extra fluffy. And I had to go, I need
Animals
to snuggle
provide
you.
a lot of comfort. Yeah, I need to hug you and squeeze you until you don't like it.
Yeah, and then
I like it when I hug my dogs and like all of their air like escapes their body because I'm squeezing them so tight.
Oh no!
They're like, and I'm like, yep.
Don't be Lenny from Bugs Bunny.
Who?
Hug them and squeeze them and what? Remember Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny? Because the abominable snowman, he always wanted a rabbit, a bunny. And so Daffy Duck would get tricked into wearing a bunny suit. And he goes, I'm going to love him and squeeze him and call him George.
Squeeze him and hug him. Yeah.
Don't be a Lenny.
Man, I haven't seen any new Looney Tunes cartoons or anything. I know Space Jam's coming out soon, which I'm totally going to watch, even though I don't think it can beat the original Space Jam.
That was my childhood. That's why. Because we didn't have good cartoons back in the day. No, I guess we did.
No, we did. We really didn't. We had some like Rescue Rangers, DuckTales. Woo-hoo.
You know, I got into Japanese anime as soon as that was starting to air over here in Hawaii. It was Robotech was one of my favorites.
I love Robotech. Oh my goodness, I have the whole DVD set.
Do you know that? And Voltron? No, you didn't. But I think it was Netflix that like remade them and gave them all a shiny new coating, and they're just beautiful. And it just kind of takes me back to my childhood. There was another character that I guess it was straight from Japan because I do remember it all being in Japanese and subtitles or something. But was Kikaida? Did you ever watch that?
No, I've never.
He rode on a motorcycle. It was live action.
Well, I want to roll back and be like, wait, you're a Robotech fan? Because, I mean, what was his name? Rick Hunter?
I can't remember the characters.
Lisa
I'm really
Hayes.
terrible about that. I just watched the
jackass pilot falls in love with the very strict and like, she becomes like an admiral and all that stuff. And I have it all the way up to their wedding.
Oh.
Remember
That's right.
Lin-Min May? Oh my gosh. She was so annoying. She was such a helpless damsel in distress. Like, this woman cannot get her shit together.
I'm pretty
There's
sure
not a lot of people who know about Robotech. So
those cartoons were they're not written for children, but it was just a cute little series.
Yeah, but it didn't have anything like crazy in it.
No, it didn't. It was very PG.
It was like, let's just kiss. And I was like, this is it? And now it's like, now on Netflix, like every show that's geared towards like young teens is about sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Drugs. and identity. And I'm like, man, my mom would not let me watch this stuff when I was little.
I think that America has different programming than they do in other countries.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think programming, I mean, I've noticed like more British shows are a lot more raunchier, you know, but I mean, American shows, but you have to have a subscription to like HBO Max and Stars or Showtime to get these other shows that are a little bit more risque.
Even Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix has been a little risque for me. I'm like, wow, I hope my nieces never watch this.
They have Versailles, though. I'm in love with Versailles.
Versailles is great. Well, the costumes are really great. My mom and I were getting pedicures this week, and we looked up and we saw My Fair Lady. And the costumes, just the cinematography alone, you know, you have to have all those extras. You didn't have computers to put in these extras. Like, there was like hundreds of extras. I don't know if you remember, but the race scene where it's the first time she's presented in like the public. She's wearing that beautiful dress. That dress, I had to look up where it is. Some private collector and bought it for $4.5 million. Audrey Hepburn, you classy lady. But I was just looking at all the costumes, and it did win an Oscar for its costumes, but because of that, like, I'm just talking about, like, you know, Versailles costumes. Like, I had a coat that is handmade, because I wanted a coat like the one they wear in Versailles, because it's so beautiful.
No, oh my God, all the costumes were so gorgeous. I mean, it was canceled because it had a lot of sex scenes, which, you know, when you look at Game of Thrones, that was like in every background scene, I swear. It was just like there was always sex going on in the background. No,
there's 3 seasons of Versailles.
Yeah, but it's
done. And
then
there's another one.
It's done.
Ah! Well,
they shut it down.
Watch it all over again.
Yeah. So you can binge the whole thing and have closure. I was really hoping that it would get to the later parts of
pieces.
His reign.
His life.
Yeah. He lived a long time. He had a long
reign. 60 years, I think, was his reign, too. Yeah, for a man, yes, big deal. Like, women.
Yeah.
Women have, like, persevered. Like, Queen Elizabeth I, right?
Yeah.
Henry VIII's daughter, then Queen Victoria. And now you have Queen Elizabeth II. I mean, they're just living. They're living. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Women live longer than men.
Yeah. Do you have a degree in world history, too? That's really good
I just
that
love
you
it.
Could name all that on top of your head.
I love history. I mean, I love period pieces. A lot of people I've talked to, they're just like, oh, I'm not into period pieces. And I was like, well, technically Game of Thrones was.
It was. It's just in a different world.
It's a fictional period piece.
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of Game of Thrones, I'm going to tell you something totally stupid. So Game of Thrones.
Okay, tell me something stupid.
My daughter, it was kind of like everybody had been talking about it. And I want to say this was like I think the show ended in 2019 was the final season. And so in like 2017 or something, my daughter came home and she's like, oh my goodness, Mom, you have to check out this show. It's amazing. And so I watch one episode. She cues it up and it's the season 1 finale. So the first scene that I see is of our main character. Spoiler alert. Close your ears if you haven't seen it, but he gets his head chopped off. And I'm like, this is how they're going to start this whole thing. And then so I make it through the end of that episode and I'm like, I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know what's going on. Why was this such a big deal? And then she goes, oh, and then after we get to the end, she finds that that was the last episode of season 1
of the first season.
Sorry,
oh my gosh.
Let's watch this episode. And she goes, every episode before that is just a prequel. And I'm like,
wow. And then they're coming out with a prequel to the Game of Thrones.
I know. So I'm like,
perfect.
I'm like, I'm not watching this show. So I actually refused to watch all of Game of Thrones until this. I was in a car accident and I got hurt, and I was like laid up for like 6 weeks maybe. And after I had binge watched everything that I normally watch, was kind of left with this. I'm like, fine, I'm just going to watch it. And I watched it properly in order. And when I got to the season 1 finale, that did make sense. But I was like, right. Oh, and I know who all these people are. And then of course the time that I did that was just before the last season was going to come out. And I was so sad by that last season. And I understood why everybody was so angry about it.
It was rushed.
It was
just
rushed because those guys who were writing and producing it were like, they had another project lined up. They were so excited. Done. Yeah, they just wanted to be over. But I can imagine and how all the actors felt like that was going to be the end of these characters that they had put all these years into. And then it was like, oh, yeah, now you're going to die. I was just, I could feel that kind of sadness watching it. I know.
Well, I was not thrilled either with that. And I felt like Daenerys deserved better.
She did.
And it's just weird. It was a weird thing. And like, it seemed like everybody was cool with what Jon Snow did. And I was like, I don't.
No. And you'd think that the author, who I think was just so fed up and walked away from it, that's why he wasn't involved, I think, in the last season, that he'd be so mad that he would finally finish the darn books.
I mean, I hope it doesn't sway, like, you know, what happened in the TV show sways like how he's going to end the series, or not even end it.
I don't think so. But I think that he had more books lined up, and I don't care if it's him who writes it, but there's so much fan fiction out there about how it could be written, how it could have gone down, that I hope that he just collaborates just to get it done with all these other really excited fans. There's all these talented writers out there who would be happy to co-write it with him. Just please get it out so we can have just real closure.
Closure. Oh dear. It's always about closure. Like everybody always wants closure on everything.
On everything.
But I think it's healthy. It's healthy. There's a lot of people out there who just need that. I feel like every sort of Game of Thrones, like TikTok or Snapchat or Instagram or whatever, when that came out, everybody was just like, no, like this is not, it's not how it, you know, this is not how they imagine. I imagined it way better too. And I was just like, why did I just watch this season? Like it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
The only cool scene was when Arya Stark like killed the the king? Knights, what are they? Nightwalkers or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even remember now. White Walker.
That's
right.
The only good scene. I mean, it was actually really well choreographed, and it was. Yep. She looked badass.
Like the emotion was there.
Yep.
Even his emotion, like it was like, ah, shit.
Yeah.
Like that's how I felt like when he saw the dagger. He was like, ah, shit.
Yep.
Damn it, because that's her signature move. Yeah,
it is.
He's like holding her, and he's like, oh shit. I don't know. Man, this past week I've been a little clumsy. I was just thinking about like the aw shit moments like of this week, and I've like dumped my drink in 3 different places on accident. So I was like in a restaurant, drink just fell over. Like, all right, was having a cider at my brother's house, dumped that over. Just everything and I think I knocked a drink off like my car. I was just like, all right, maybe I'm not meant to have any fluids this week. Whatever.
or to slow down. Slow down. Watch your hands.
I wasn't even rushing. I wasn't doing anything. It just bleh,
randomly fell out of your hand.
Nothing was on my hand. Well, nothing was in my hand. Everything was on a table or flat surface, and it would just fall over. And I'm like, all right, fine. There's some like spirit following me around, and just those like videos of people just like knocking crap out of your hand. Like they're just knocking stuff off of like every flat surface that is around me. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not going to drink anything. No fluids.
Or you're going to have to put like a screw top on like your nieces have. Little baby sippy cups.
I need a sippy cup. It's fine. Shit. It's fine. I'm adult enough to just say that I need a sippy cup in my life. Sippy cup. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so this week you had like a couple stories to tell me, and I was like, save it for the podcast. So what?
Okay. Wait.
What had happened?
I wrote it down. I made a list.
Oh,
funny stories. Actually, no. I wrote them down. I told them to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was it. I can't remember what else I was gonna say. Damn it. Oh wait, do I have another quote? I have another quote. Since the other ones were good, I'm going to let you ponder it. There's no such thing as fail. When you win, you win. When you lose, you learn.
You know what? Then I've done a lot of learning in my life.
Me too.
Kind of tired?
Me too.
Why does it have to be when you lose, you learn? How about when you don't get what you want or the best outcome? Because losing to me is so negative, right? Like we don't want to go through life thinking we've lost a lot in order to
Nobody
learn,
wants to
right?
think the word failure. And I think there's such a negative connotation to it. I think you're right.
I think maybe we say, you've experienced, but it didn't turn out with the best outcome or your predicted outcome. Because some outcomes are good, right? Like, but your predicted outcome is you still learn. Even if the outcome is positive, you still learn some sort of experience through not having what you wanted. I think I've always had that issue in my life. It's like, I really want things to go a certain way and then it doesn't. And I'm like, like why? But I think that's when I learn the most is when something doesn't go my way.
I think
Might go in a good way though.
every moment of our lives is life experience, and we're always learning.
It's hard.
Life, I think, is
I wonder
meant
if
to
anybody
be
out there
an
is
experience.
living their perfect life. Do you think people are out there living their perfect life? Well, maybe there's a few, right? But not the majority of us.
Well, I think that if you get to a point where you've reached all level of comfort, like we can talk about Bill Gates for a moment, right? He worked really hard to amass his billions, his fortune. But now he's created new challenges for himself where he's donated the money. He's being the best philanthropist that he can be, and
that has a lot to do with his wife, though.
Yeah. Well, the two of them, they're learning how to manage these funds, how to manage raising their children so that they have an appreciation for, doing good things and living their best life. I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
But I get the sense that from other interviews where they've talked about their children and why they're trying to give all their money away and not give it all to their kids. I thought that was very it was a gift. I mean, your children might not think it's a gift, but it is a gift because they've been blessed with every privilege that they should rise to the occasion and make even more money than their father did. Because they have they have a better foundation than even he had.
I thought one of his kids became a doctor.
I don't actually know anything about Bill Gates.
I think so.
His family.
I don't know. I think now that his kids are grown, I think they're giving back in some way, but that's what they've learned from their parents. And I think that's a really important thing also is, we in all of any way, we are the product of the people that we have been surrounded by when we grew up, our mentors, our parents, or not our parents, and so I think it's so important. Like nowadays, it makes me a little sad that I'm seeing some of the future generations not having the same sort of respect for people and just people in general. I mean, I try to instill to my nieces, like, you will get very far if you say thank you and please, at least, because it never hurts to tell somebody thank you.
No. And then,
because those are not hostile words in any way.
I know that we've both grown up with this mentality, but when and I'm sure it's not just us, it's a lot of people have, when you see your grandparents and what struggles they've made and what they've done to provide for their children and then your children's children, right? Every generation wants the next generation to have it a little bit easier to make even a better life for themselves and for the future generations going forward.
Right.
Because as I'm really lucky that I've been able to give my children, this start in life, wherever it leads them. And I just hope that I've instilled enough kindness and caring for themselves and for the world and to just be better people, to make the world better than before they leave it. Better than it was. I'm saying it wrong. To leave the world a better place than we received it. And to just give them every advantage so that they can be more successful than I ever was.
I feel like it's really hard now. Just looking at the planet is more populated than when we first arrived in it, right? And then there's like more pollution and stuff. And so it's important for us and, you know, all future generations to understand that resources don't last forever.
Mm-hmm. I actually really
things...
have watched a whole lot of things, very encouraging things about how there's so many people who are recycling from all of the trash that has been generated, all of the pollution that has been generated. Like they're making new things out of things that have already been made, like tires, for instance. There was a woman, I think some famous scientist, who took that and made a building material for buildings that's stronger than what is out there now. Because rubber tires, they have so much stuff in them that make them so hard and so sturdy. And I think they grind it up or something, and then they make a new material. And they can do
they can
tiles
make a
and
playground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they make a playground like kind of surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't get super hot and it's very cushiony. So if people fall.
But I think
they should put that stuff in, like, if you can make it not smell bad, you could put that in like nursing homes and stuff. So when people fall.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were making tiles. I mean, that's fancy. Rubber tiles. I know that there's so many things that we can do. Like they take plastics and then they reformulate it to make something else. And I think since there are so many people in the world right now populating it, that there's so many people who can make an industry out of all of the pollution that unfortunately has come before, all the generations past. I mean, everything used to be like, remember when milk you saw in like old TV shows, they would arrive by a milkman in a glass bottle and you'd give that back. And, you know, that means that there's a ton of glass and other things that could have been reused, can still be reused. We just have to, fortunately, dig through our trash.
I think about all of the milk, gallons of milk that get thrown away every day at every Starbucks or coffee shop around the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's quite a bit.
It's a lot of plastic. True.
A lot of plastic. Well, Starbucks is coming out with this program where they're having these plastic reusable cups that they sanitize, but I'm just a little bit like,
it's hard to make that a sell when there's like a pandemic going on.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
but they're already testing it now.
That's a hard sell, but I feel like,
I mean, we do that at restaurants, right? Like they just put it through a disinfector, which is not, it just gets to a certain temperature and you think it's okay, but some people don't have that. And ta-da, you're eating off the same utensils that somebody else ate off of.
Every time I see lipstick on a cup, I'm like, oh no,
that's gross.
You got to send that back.
No.
Sorry, I need a new dish. I need a
Especially
new
on coffee
whatever.
Mugs. I'm like, what? When I look at coffee mugs that have like that lipstick, I'm like, why are you putting on this much lipstick? It's really thick.
And, you know, lipstick is made super powerful now to last all day. It will transfer onto your cups.
It lasts all day, guys.
It lasts all day.
It'll last several washes.
Yeah.
I mean, that means you didn't scrub it at all. Like you just kind of dipped it and threw it in.
I think it's like an automatic thing. Like they just place it on things and it goes through like a giant dishwasher.
You have to get the stuff off of it first. I mean, it's not like our dishwashers that disintegrate
all things,
meats and noodles and things. Well, all the things. But I was thinking I was gonna make a joke like, oh, that lipstick's on there just to reapply for the next person.
Oh no!
So gross.
It's not my color.
Yeah, I know, right? Maybe it's Maybelline, but it's definitely not my color. That's funny. I really enjoy going out to eat. I think for Mother's Day, we're taking my mom to some like Argentinian steakhouse, whatever. It's just like she doesn't even eat a lot of meat, but I think we're going for other motivations and reasons. But it's nice, but I don't know.
This is what my mother said to me. She goes, we're going to have, she goes, Mom, what do you want to do for Mother's Day? And she goes, oh, I'm going out to brunch. I don't need anything. And I'm like, oh, well, we're going to barbecue later. So that's happening. And she made a face at me. And I'm like, I don't care. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, because you got to think about the people who are like motivated to celebrate and have a reason to barbecue. But
there's other people coming. It's not just But I'll make you something that you like.
I gotta say, like, in Texas, I don't feel like COVID exists because I've been to several places now. I went to a trampoline park last weekend, not by choice. I was sort of forced, and no one was wearing masks. There was maybe like 200 people in there, all rolling around in the same trampolines and the same jungle gyms and all the things, and there is no COVID. None. I don't know what's happening.
Well, is it just reported like, on the news? New cases?
Yeah, of course. There's like, I mean, a lot of people are getting vaccinated. Good for you. Like, I'm happy, proud of you. But a lot of people don't want their second dose, or because the second dose is when your like really negative side effects come out, right? Like you feel like you have malaise.
I hope
shivers,
not. Everybody else in my family has been awesome. Nobody's had any kind of side effects with the second shot, so mine's next week. But I think
there's a lot of like
I'm excited
hype about the second shot. You know, like people are like, oh crap, or they're busy. I mean, it's really hard. Like when shots were coming out, like trying to schedule them, it's all during business hours. Like some people are not going to be able to like get out. But all I have to say is like every restaurant is packed. All the malls are packed. Nobody's wearing masks. Like even though a business requires you to wear a mask, if you go in without a mask, people are not going to say anything because I mean, technically Texas is masks off.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was really interesting. It's weird to see the world again functioning and like see people's faces. One thing I got to say is it seems like in Texas, if you're not going to wear a mask, it's okay to wear your sunglasses indoors though.
Oh.
That seems to be a common trend now. Like everybody, instead of like covering their mouth,
they cover their eyes.
Down, like nose down, they're covering their eyes now. And I'm like, is it sunny at 8:00 at night in an indoor building? Like I'm confused. But like most of the adults in that place had sunglasses on. And I'm like,
because they don't want to be seen and recognize that they weren't wearing a mask. Maybe.
I doubt it. I highly doubt. I think they were just trying to look cool, but they weren't. They didn't look very cool.
Were they old people?
Like, you're dumb. No, dude. They were like all my age. I'm like, why are you wearing sunglasses? It's like that song, I wear sunglasses at night, but it wasn't that cool.
I think people are they're so used to covering up a part of their face that, there was a certain anonymity to like wearing a mask. Because I could go like everywhere and it's not that a lot of people know me, but a lot of people like randomly when you don't want to see someone and you're not dressed like, you didn't put any effort into it because you could just put a mask on and nobody would recognize you.
Ooh, I put 0 effort into my life.
So
today.
I was like, so excited because nobody would recognize me. I wouldn't run into any family. I have a ton of family on this island, and it would just be like that one time where my hair was all crazy, and then
I think people can recognize you. I think people recognize you. Well, I think there's no escaping it.
They didn't come up and say hi, so they weren't sure. So the mask did its job. Plus, I would wear sunglasses. I'm not gonna lie. I would cover my whole face.
Oh my gosh, you'd be like totally covered. I actually feel like, and I can confidently say that I feel like I'm more attractive with a mask on than with a mask off. Because then I could like, if you have something stuck in your teeth, nobody's gonna know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody gonna know because you wearing a mask the whole time. Or I don't know, like I have some really nice looking masks that like contour my face. I feel like I'm just like, oh man, I look skinnier with this mask on. But it's all about the eyes, right? Like eye contact. Like you are forced to have eye contact with people now.
Yep.
Before it's not like that. You would not have eye contact now. Now we communicate with our eyes.
Yep.
And I think people know now what surgery life is like because you only communicate with your eyes. And most of the time, I'm looking shocked as hell.
Or wearing a burqa.
Almost every case I'm wearing a burqa.
Yeah. They only show their eyes.
Then you got to communicate. I think we'll be better at like communicating now as like a human race because we've only been able to read each other's eyes. So sometimes it's good to have really good looking eyes because we've been wearing masks for a year. I mean, I still kind of like the idea of like hiding behind a mask for a little while. So I'm going to still wear it when I feel like it, but
I wear it every time I go out. Because I just wear it every time I go out because I don't trust other people. We have so many people coming here. That's why. And every time I see the news, it's like, oh yeah, new cases reported every day in Hawaii.
Well, that's different for Hawaii, though. Oh, I wonder if Hawaii's going to change their restrictions soon because of there's children that risk.
Yeah, because they're not getting the shots yet. It's only 16 and up.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is some risk to having the children come over and I don't know if they have a COVID test before they arrive. I think so. But like a certain age, they can still carry the virus. Like, so I'm like, okay.
Yep.
So,
You don't want kids to get it. You really don't.
Hawaii, live on, carry on, live aloha.
Put a mask
that's all
on.
you can do.
Put a mask on. Sorry. Sorry, kids.
Just, yeah.
Kids, you got to wear masks because you can't trust anybody.
Don't touch everything.
Yeah.
Stop with your ooey gooeys.
Yeah. Stop touching things.
Oh my gosh. Kids touch everything and it's so annoying. I'm like, stop. I just want to spray you with Lysol every time you do something.
I do appreciate though that things are so much cleaner. Like now before when you used to just grab a shopping cart.
But I don't know if it'll last like that long. I don't know how much longer that's going to last.
I really want that to continue forever. I
clean my own shopping cart.
But I like that they spray them all. I like that they do some kind of disinfectant sprayer.
I wish we had gotten to the point where you walk in and you're like, psh, like sprayed head to toe with like disinfectant before you go to. That would have been badass. I would have been like, okay, expose me to every carcinogen. Let's do this.
Yeah, we didn't get that far, did we?
I want to be sterile.
I don't want any other pandemics. That could come. That could be the next time. Pretty soon you have to
still ongoing.
Wear like a
bubble suit.
Yeah, when you go into a place.
Oh dear. That would
I swear that's.
I don't even think.
Have you ever seen contractors in Japan? How they like wear head to toe. I've seen so many videos. Yeah, with their gloves and everything booties. Is so hygienic.
Shoe covers.
Hygienic.
Yep.
And that's just going to a job site. They're like that everywhere, and I'm just like, if the world was like that, but they still got COVID. I don't know how they still got COVID.
Still got COVID. Because they take that stuff off. Like,
yeah,
there's no way they're
still humans.
They're still human, and no human is perfect.
Yeah, but they were wearing masks before it was cool, and
we're gonna rise above this, and hopefully the variants and all that stuff go away. But I mean, there's always something in the air.
They had those masks. If you ever watch the show The Masked Singer, they have those masks that go like from the top of their head. It's like a visor that just covers their whole face. But those are like really popular here and in Japan just to not get tanned, because everybody wants to have white porcelain skin. So, and especially your face.
You know what? I don't know. I feel like more people want to be tan than they want to be pale.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I was hunting that mask, that visor thing down. Like I remember one of the girls at paddling, she bought one as a joke because she thought it was hilarious that you just walk around with this visor face. And I was like thinking that when all this was happening, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need that visor. And I couldn't find one at all anywhere. They're gone. No. They're all sold out.
They're gone. Should go into the visor making business, fabrication.
But I'd want the one that was old school. That was the popular one. That
You're just gonna have to wait till this pandemic's over.
Yeah.
So with that, we have gone through almost everything, and it's been a weird week. I'm hoping next week is better. Anyway, happy Mother's Day to all the moms, doggy moms out there, and
cat moms, animal moms. Baby goat moms. I'm so obsessed with baby goats now.
I want to end this on a funny thing. I saw a video. This girl, like, she wrote up, she got reported for having a unauthorized animal in her apartment. And then you queue into her fire mantle, and she's got a little chinchilla and like stuffed animals, and this little chinchilla and all the stuffed animals are holding like a little sign. And so she puts this little sign in the chinchilla's hands, and he holds it, and it's very still. And I was like, oh my God, like, because that's how you would pass inspection, right? Just have it look like a stuffed animal. It's so cute. I miss having chinchillas. I used to have 5 of them, and I love them so much. They were so cute. They were like little rabbit squirrel things that would pop around and fly all over the place. They poop a lot though.
Oh,
and they're messy. They
would poop all over your
dust
house.
Baths.
Oh
No. They were in their cage. But when I would take them out, like they would try, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. But anyway, yes. So I hope everybody has a great week. Thanks for listening and tuning in with us. Check us out, mytiesatsunset.com, our beautiful, beautiful website. Shout out to Kai for her amazing website design abilities and for supporting us.
Thank you to our patrons.
We patrons. Yeah,
love you.
We're building them slowly, but you guys are there, and thank you so much for your support. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I think my blog will be published this week, so tune in for that. That's going to be exciting.
That will be exciting. I look forward to it too.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy Mother's Day. Let's have a really great weekend, and wishing you all a really great next week. And until we meet again, ahoy ho.